If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I'm your host, Preston Proctor. I guess first off, the thoughts, prayers, good wishes going out to the people in LA who are suffering from this fire that's going on out there right now. I've got family near there, not in Pacific Palisades, but near enough that they've been near other fires in the past. In fact, a couple of years ago, a house about 100 yards from theirs burned down, but their house fortunately was spared. I guess they're doing okay, from what I understand. And adjusting my mic here. They don't have power. Fortunately, not exactly sure what the temperatures are out there, but it's not like here in Nashville where it was, I think, 15 degrees when I got up this morning. So 15 degrees and no power is no kidding. There you go. Anyway, I guess the Kings had a game. They delayed because of the fires, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, the winds die down and they can put these fires out. Real tragedy going on out in LA. This podcast, I'm going to cover Saturdays. It's Thursday, the 9th. Prudence's birthday, by the way. She was good, nice enough to come in and pepper me with questions. I guess the first question she gave me, I went a little long on, so didn't give her enough time, I guess. And but yeah, it's her birthday, and I got family coming in town to go to the game on Saturday, assuming it's not snowed out. So I'm putting this podcast out a little bit early. Not going to make a huge difference in stats. Washington does play Friday night against Montreal. So they will have one more game between now and the Nashville game, but Nashville is off, and most of the people that are on injured reserve, like Stamkos, who got injured during the Winnipeg game, are supposed to be back. So I don't think that I would have anything new on that either. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Washington game first. Let's. A little first segment these days is the playoff watch. We are halfway through the season now, 41 games in, 41 games left. The Preds have 33 points. They need 60 more to get to 93. So 41 games to get 60 points is starting to sound a little tight. But as we've talked about, last season, the Preds went on an 18-game point streak going 16-0-2. So 32, 34 points in those 18 games. 34 points would be nice. They would make a big dent in that 60 that we need to make the playoffs. The Preds did have a tough loss in Winnipeg the other night. But they are 5-4-1 in their last 10. After the two wins against Vancouver and Calgary, they had their first winning record in 10 games. Still do, 5-4-1. So actually, the Preds are playing their best hockey of the season right now. They are 6-5-1 since the 8-game losing streak. A lot of, if they didn't have the 8-game losing streak, they didn't have the 5-game losing streak, then 6-5-1 wouldn't seem like so much of a problem. That 8-game losing streak, they were 0-5-3. So anyway, it's still possible, still in the range of possible. As I told Prudence, I give it a less than 10% chance that they pull this around, make this up. But hey, stranger things have happened. So hopefully they will. Anyway, the Preds start a 5-game homestand this Saturday after a 6-game road trip. I still say it's 6 games. Did hear one of the commentators, the announcers say that that up and back to St. Louis didn't really count to the road trip, which I don't know. I guess if you count your nights in a hotel, but generally, if you play 5 road games in a row, it's a 5-game road trip. So if you play 6 games in a row, it's a 6-game road trip. Whether or not you go home in between, I think if you look at a lot of the Atlantic teams, the teams in the Northeast, they can, they'll have a road trip. They'll play, the Rangers can play the Islanders and the Devils 2 games in a row. That's a 2-game road trip, and they may not even travel. I mean, they don't have to stay in a hotel for that kind of stuff. So maybe they do for the Devils, but I doubt it. But anyway, you get my point. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of bogus, and I don't know, a CYA type thing. I don't know. I just, whatever. Just, one more thing for the announcers to annoy me with. But anyway, we have a 5-game homestand, and it's 5 games, 5-game homestand. It's not a 3-game homestand and a 1-1, which, maybe, I don't know, they have a couple of days off. So, it's a 3-1-1. I don't think anybody would ever say that. So I don't get it. Anyway, this is the last game of 2 with Washington, the only one in Nashville. Washington won the other game 3-2, scoring 1 goal in each period to the Preds' 1 goal in just the first and second periods. Washington is 27-10-4 overall, 13-6-1 on the road. Pretty good. They are first in the Metropolitan with 58 points. They are 5 points ahead of the Devils, who have played 2 more. Washington is second in the league, tied with Winnipeg, who has played 1 more game, and they are 1 point behind the Vegas Golden Knights, who have played 1 less. This is their only game on the road trip. Their schedule just looks crazy. So many games where they are They're at home, they're away. They're at home, they're away. They're at home, they're away. And I guess, that's, part of that is the since they are, and there's so many teams concentrated in the area that they can do that without really having to travel a lot. This upcoming sequence with Montreal and Nashville Friday, Saturday, they're at home versus Montreal, and then they come to Nashville. It's their 10th back-to-back of the season. They've won a lot. They've won a lot. They're a pretty good team. One of my cousins is a Caps fan. In fact, the first hockey game I saw in person was in Washington. Used to live and work in Washington, and had a friend from college who was a big Caps fan. And so whenever I would go over, she was a roommate of a girl I dated on and off a couple times. And their other two roommates were actually the wives of two of my friends now. But at the time, they were just girlfriends of my friends. So I'd go over to their place and pull for whoever was playing Washington just to get her goat. I was struggling to remember her name. I don't remember her name. So watched a lot of hockey in college. Watched a lot of the Capitals games, and then saw my first hockey game was in Washington. I think they lost. I think I had decided to pull for Washington since I lived in the area at the time. So of course they lost. I think they lost pretty bad. But anyway, that was a long time ago.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
But the Capitals are alternating away and home for the next 4 games. They're Montreal, and then Nashville, Anaheim, Ottawa, and Pittsburgh are all alternated away and home, and then they go on a 5-game road trip. Notable personnel changes. They've got 2 players that are on long-term. I think Oshie hasn't even played the season. Backstrom might have gotten a couple of games in, but both of those are out for the season, so I wasn't really going to mention them, but just did. And left wing Sonny Milano is on long-term injured reserve. Leads the team in the worst plus-minus at -3, which would be pretty good on the Preds. But no real notable stats. But does have his picture has got a lot of hair, very notable, and no new transactions that I was able to see. Nobody called up, nobody sent down, nobody traded for or traded away. So the people to watch, of course, number 8, left wing Alex Ovechkin, first in goals with 19, second in shots with 96, fourth in shooting percentage, which I think is the scary thing there. Just under 20%, 19 goals on 96 shots. So 1 in 5, basically. 1 in 5 for him. And he's the high goal scorer on this team that scores a lot of goals. Very somewhat similar to Winnipeg. So this is yet another tough matchup, tough team to play. Number 17, center Dylan Strome, first in assists with 33, first in points with 45. Number 21, center Alexei Protas. Probably all wrong, but second in goals with 18, second in points with 36, first in plus minus at 24. So he's second in goal scoring, first in plus minus. And he's third in shooting percentage at just over 24%, 18 goals on 74 shots. So they, third, Ovechkin is second on the team in shots with 96, which maybe he would be second. First is 102. So the Preds are way ahead of that as far as shots go. But when these guys take shots, they are deadly, is the problem. So that's Alexei Protas, number 21. Then you got number 74 defenseman John Carlson, who's third in assists with 23, third in plus minus with 15, and first on time of ice with 24 minutes. So that's notable. He's got such a high plus minus, and he's on the ice a lot. And then I kept seeing, I usually try to stick to 3. But for obvious reasons, I had to increase it to 4. And then I kept seeing number 24 center Connor McMichael name show up. Well, he's first in shots at 102, third in points with 31, and fourth in goals with 17. Fourth in goals, not really something I really kind of dive down to notice, but I just kept seeing his name kind of pop up there, and so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll include him. So that's the 5 people to watch. Number 8, Ovechkin, 17, Strom, 21, Protas, 74, Carlson, and 24, McMichael.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
For the Preds are 13-21-7 overall, 8-7-3 at home, so a winning record at home, which is great. Let's keep that up. The Preds are 7th in the Central Division with 33 points, 3 points ahead of Chicago, who won last night. Good for them. Congratulations. 8 points behind Utah, who has played 1 less game. After the Preds won 2 in a row, it was kind of had this, hey, climbing up the standings. We were tied with Buffalo, and then we lost to Winnipeg, and Buffalo won. And it's like, we're still, only ahead of 2 teams in the league. So if they win a couple more, it'd be interesting to, be like, hey, look out Buffalo, and then we're coming after you, whoever's next on the list, right? As they climb up the standings from near the basement, have been in the basement. They climbed over Chicago, or Chicago fell under them. It's hard to tell. And then over San Jose. So this is the beginning, the first game of a 5-game homestand. Notable personnel changes. So there are a few people listed on injured reserve or day-to-day that are expected to be back Saturday. And that's Lazan, Willsby, Evangelista, and Stamkos, all expected to be back for the Washington game. Left wing Zachary Leroux, his 3-game suspension has been completed, and he's available for the game Saturday. Whether he plays or not, I guess we'll see. Right wing Cole Smith is on injured reserve, and center Ozzy Weisblatt has been assigned to Milwaukee, so he was sent back down. And defenseman Kevin Gravel has been recalled from Milwaukee. So number 5, Kevin Gravel, back up from Milwaukee. People to watch for the Preds. Number 81, right wing Jonathan Marchessault, first in goals with 14, second in points with 30, second in shots with 121. Second in shots with 121. And remember, the first for Washington was 102. Left wing Philip Forsberg, number 9, got a goal. Was he third or fourth on the list for goals, but hadn't had a goal since November 25th. It's good for him. He got that goal against Winnipeg. He's first in assists and first in points, 24 assists, 34 points. First in shots with 136. Number 59, defenseman Roman Josi, second in assists with 19. First in time on ice, 25.04. Also, the bottom in plus minus, I think it's 22, negative 22 now. Defense or a center, number 90, Ryan O'Reilly, another guy whose name just kept popping up whenever I was looking at stuff. Second in goals at 12 and fourth in time on ice at 18:56, which makes him the leader for the forwards. So he gets a lot of ice time, and he's second in goals with 12. Number 91, center Steven Stamkos, also second in goals with 12. And then notable, number 37, defenseman Nick Blankenberg, is first in plus minus with 9. Second has 3, which is Willsby. So that's pretty good. It was 10, and then, he scored that own goal for Winnipeg. Boy, what a couple of minutes the other night. Scrambling around, knocked the puck in for Winnipeg like they need help scoring goals. And then just a couple of seconds later, they scored one of their own. Boy, just what a cluster. But anyway, Blankenberg at 9 plus minus, positive plus minus. So that's your Preds. The Preds stats at home, they are 8, 7, and 3, which is a winning record, and very sweet. So so this actually kind of interesting, kind of fun. Have a winning record and be able to talk about statistics. In general. The first goal for the Preds, almost a 2-1 advantage. It's starting to eke out. They are 10, 6, and 5 when they get the first goal, 3, 15, and 2 when they don't. So it's a very high negative not to get the first goal, which they did not against Winnipeg the other night. Well, I guess they kind of did, just in the wrong net. But we don't count that. At home, they are 6, 3, and 3. When they get it, 2 and 4 when they don't. So, yeah, a 2-1 advantage in both ways right now. Definitely that first goal at home looking a little meaningful. Winning by period at home. They are 10, 3, and 5. In the first period, 6, 9, and 3 in the second, 8, 7, and 3 in the third, 2 and 3 in overtime. So the overtime losing record, but a losing record in the second period, a winning record in the first and third. Interesting that the record in the third period mimics their overall record, 8, 7, and 3. What I like to do is to look at the correlations between winning and losing. In the first period, when they've won the first period, they're 6 and 4. When they tie it, they're 2 and 3. 0-3 when they lose. Every time they lose the first period, they've lost the game. In the second period, 5-1. When they win the second period, they're 5-1. 2-7 when they lose it. So not, losing the second period, there's still hope. And 1-2 when they tie it. In the third period, the correlation is 7-1. When they win it, they're 7-1. When they lose it, they're 1-6. And when they tie it, they're 0-3. Now, I do like to take out the empty nets. And so then that moves the Preds down to actually 4-1 when they win, 1-4 when they lose, and 3-5 when they tie. So a lot of the empty nets, they were, they're 8 ties overall when you take out the empty nets versus 3. So that's they're really tying the third period, but they were winning the game. So so that's good. So yeah. So so there's a lot of good correlation there. Definitely the losing record in the second period is a problem, and they need to play better in the second period. But that's winning by period. And the result correlations, the winning goal. Let's see, winning goal at home. It's interesting. 28% of the time it's scored in the first, third, and overtime. 17% it's in the second. When the Preds win, they've never scored the winning goal in the second period. They have in the first and third, so that's 38% of the time, and then in overtime, 25%. When the opposition primarily scores the winning goal would be in the second and overtime at 30% for both of those and 20% in the first and third. So that's the percentages. Yeah, the Preds have not scored the winning goal at home in the second period yet this season, halfway through the season. Last season at home, the Preds would score the winning goal in the second period 39% of the time. Is the highest percentage, with the second highest percentage being the third period at 26%. So definitely different. Last year, it was only 13% in the first period, and this year so far it's 38%. We're halfway through the season. Granted, 18 home games, so not well. Statistical relevance is a little hard. It really trends, right?
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
Goal scoring. Goal scoring for the Preds is at home. Let's just talk about at home. Talking about at home, overall, they are outscoring the opposition 19-11, and even when they lose, they are outscoring the opposition 12-11. Funny, when they've won, they're outscoring in the first 7-0. That's pretty good. In the second period, they are being outscored 13-19, 6-15 when they lose, 7-4. They outscore the opponent 7-4 when they win, 6-15 when they don't. That winning, they outscore their opponents in the first period when they lose at home. And then in the third period, without removing the empty nets, it's pretty even, 19-20. And then when they win, outscoring 15-6, and when they lose, 4-14. But that's there are 11 empty net goals, and when they play in Nashville, 6 for the Preds and 5 for the opposition. So that brings it back down to a 13-15. The Preds being outscored in the third period, 13-15. They are outscoring the opponents 9-6 when they win, and being outscored 4-9 when they lose. So in general, at home, the percentages are pretty good, or fairly equal, normalized. The Preds are scoring 2.6 goals to the opponent's 2.7 here in Nashville. Overall, it's 2.2 to 2.8. But here in Nashville, they are back. They're closer to even with the opponents. When they win, 3.1 goals to 1.3. When they lose, 2.2 to 3.8. So everything kind of looks like a rush to three, a race to three. Special teams, something I wanted. I've been tracking the special teams numbers. And just to special teams, when you're not playing 5-on-5, is the easiest way to describe that. So anytime you're not 5-on-5, it's a special team. So 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 4-on-3, 3-on-4, 6-on-5. All those situations are special. And so tracking that this season, what I've noticed is that when the Preds win, that they have a positive differential in special teams scoring. Against the Rangers, it was 0. They did win that game, but there were no special team scoring in that circumstance. And then in 4 games, the other team had some sort of special teams, but the rest of them were all the opponents didn't have any, and that's home and away. But yeah, so that home, away, home, and home. So I guess 3 times the other team was able to get a special team score, and the Preds still won. And the other circumstance that I am tracking is the just after goals, just after shorthanded, and just after power play. And that's if a goal is scored within a minute after the end of a penalty for either team. If there's a goal scored, because there's a lot of momentum that you can get during your penalty kill or in the power play. So those are the special team situations I've been covering. When in the Preds losses, there's one game where the Preds did have more goals in the special teams area, and that was the first game of the year against Dallas. They got 2 to Dallas's 1. Every other, there are 2 circumstances where the Preds lost, and there were no goals, no special teams goals scored. And it was, interestingly enough, against Washington earlier this year and against Ottawa. Every other circumstance was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 games where it was 0. Both teams got special teams goals. Seattle, Edmonton, 1, 2, I guess just 4. Just 4. Where they both got it. Seattle, Edmonton, and then Pittsburgh and St. Louis most recently. 3 special teams goals for both St. Louis and Nashville, 2 in the Pittsburgh game, 1 in the Edmonton, that was way earlier in the year, and then the Seattle game, the 3rd game of the year against Seattle. Those were all losses. Against Minnesota, boy, that was a tough one. They got 4 special teams goals in Minnesota the other night. Winnipeg got 2 the other night. They got 2 the game before that, the Predators did get one in the game the other night, but Winnipeg was ahead. Now, the special teams, just as an example, Winnipeg got a power play goal, Nashville got a power play goal, and then Winnipeg got an empty net goal at the end of the game. So that's the 2-1. So maybe it'd be interesting to take out the empty nets, wouldn't it? I like to do that, don't I? Wow. But anyway, in the first game against Winnipeg, there were 2 empty net goals, and so they were those were the 2 special teams plays. All of the different penalties did not result in a score, either on the power play or the just after. So that's the special teams matchup. Really need to take out those empty nets. We do have a lot of the empty net opportunities, 18-26, the Preds to the opposition. Empty net goals, 11-14. Goals with an empty net, when you pull your goaltender, do you actually score? The Preds have done it twice. The other team's done it 3 times. At home, looking at the numbers at home, empty net opportunities, 12 for Nashville, 9 for the opposition, resulting in 6 goals to 5 for Nashville. And then the goals with the empty net, the Preds have scored once when they pull their goaltender, and the other team has scored 3 times. So that's, the power play opportunities when Nashville, when they're at home, 56-51. So they have more power play opportunities, scoring 12 to giving up 6. Delayed penalty opportunities haven't resulted in any goals. Majors with even, I know even majors with uneven opportunities. Tracking that too, just to see if there's major penalties that are getting scored on. It's happened a couple times on the road. Both the Preds and the opposition have got 1 goal on the road. The opposition has gotten 1. In Nashville, Predators have gotten 0. I don't know that that's really all that interesting, but I started tracking it, so I'm getting it. Just after goals and just after shorthanded, the Preds have gotten 2 just after goals to the opponent's 2, and have gotten none shorthanded or just after, but the opponents have gotten 3 total, 2 shorthanded, 2 just after shorthanded, and 1 shorthanded. 5-on-4, the Preds have 12 goals to the opponent's 4. 5-on-3, 0-0. 4-on-3, the opposition does have 2 to Nashville's 0. 4-on-4, the Preds are not too bad. 19 opportunities with 3 goals to 0. 3-on-3, 2 goals to 2. And that would include the overtime situations. 6-on-5, 1-3. 6-on-4 has happened twice for the opposition, never for the Preds, and no 6-on-3, no 6-on-3 opportunities. That would be I think given the, I'm not sure. I think it could happen. That'd be quite the scenario. But anyway, that's special teams.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The matchups. Last year, the Preds did beat Washington both times, 2-0. 3-1 the first time and 3-2 in a shootout. Both games were about 2 weeks apart in December. Washington did win the game earlier this year also by getting 3 goals. So it was 2-3. with Washington. Looks like a race to 3, first team to 3 wins. In those 3 games, the 2 last year and the 1 earlier this year, there was only 1 period where either team scored more than 1 goal, and it was the second game last year. The Preds did score 2 in 1 period. The Preds got the first goal in all 3 of those games, so the 2 last year and the 1 this year, so 2 and 1 from those 3. The Capitals will be playing the second game of a back-to-back against the Preds. They were home Montreal, or will be home Montreal on Friday, against Montreal on Friday. Their 10th back-to-back. It's their 6th time in the back-to-back that they've had to travel between the games. Their schedule, I mean, I guess it is because they, where they're at, but still, that seems a little rude. Some teams don't have to play that many back-to-backs. I think Winnipeg's had 4, Vancouver's had 4, Nashville's, I think, had 8 now, 10. But it's not a determinant. I think Toronto has had the most back-to-backs, if I remember correctly, and one of the better teams in the league. So it's not necessarily a negative, but in the back-to-back scenarios, the 10 back-to-backs, well, there's played 9 to this point. In the second half of it, they are 5-4 in the back half. They're 7-2 in the front half. So the advantage here to be playing the second game against Winnipeg. Winnipeg has lost all 4 of their the back half of their back-to-backs, but we're not playing Winnipeg. We're playing Washington. And when they travel, they are 3-2 in the second half of the back-to-back, 4-1 in the front half. So this is the 6th time that they've had to travel between the games. They played 5 previous to that. Does look like that's the goalie comparisons, but given that, I'll save that for the goalie discussion. We can bring this up again. Comparisons between the 2 teams. Power play. Winnipeg being the top team in the league, 32% thanks to a couple of the opportunities that they got and scored on versus Nashville recently. Washington is 11th at 23.8%, so about 1 in 4, 28 goals on 119 opportunities. Nashville is 20th at 19.5, so, around 20%, 1 in 5, 23 goals on 118 opportunities. So the number of opportunities between Washington and Nashville is roughly the same, 119 to 118, but the Caps have scored 5 more goals, which gives them 4 more percent. Against Winnipeg, what a couple of rough games. Winnipeg, in the first game, we gave them 6 opportunities and they scored 2 goals. Nashville got 2 opportunities with scoring 0 goals. And then in the game the other night, Winnipeg got 1 opportunity and scored on it. Nashville got 6 and only scored once. It's not like they're not getting their try. Winnipeg has had 125 opportunities to the 118 for Nashville. Just a point of comparison here between of all the different numbers. On the penalty kill, Washington is 5th with 83%, 21 goals scored on 127 opportunities, and Nashville is now 3rd at 84%, and basically 85%. 20 goals scored on 125 opportunities. So the number of opportunities is roughly the same, 127, 125, but just 1 goal difference between 3rd and 5th. So Washington's given up 21, Nashville's given up 20. So I think we'd have to say that their penalty kill is going to be on par with Nashville's, and so their power play a little better. But just a little better, just 5 more goals in 120 opportunities. So, or I guess you have to take out the to 28, but whatever. So 5 more goals, so a little better. I think that, in my opinion, I think the Predators would benefit by taking less penalties. Power play, penalty kill, probably going to be very even with Washington. Washington has scored a lot more goals. They've scored 150 goals this season to giving up 107, mostly in the first period. 51 goals scored in the first period, 46 in the second, and 49 in the third. I know there's the overtime goals, but I don't count those. I don't really normally mention the overtime. I guess I could, don't. They do have 13 empty net goals. So without empty net goals, they have 36. So their production in the third period, skating without an empty net, is down from the other 2 periods. So they're more dangerous in the first and second periods. Now, it could be they're playing with a lead, and so they're playing tighter. But there's definitely a big difference between the first and second periods. Actually, that'd be an interesting thing to take a look at, but I don't have all their stats. Giving up goals, they've given up 107, 36 in the first, 41 in the second, and then 28 in the third, with 4 empty nets at 24. So they do not give up a lot of goals in the third period. And they don't give up a lot and they don't score a lot. Relative, 36 goals scored for them in the third period is almost as much as the Preds score in any period. So it's nothing to sneeze at. It's still a lot of goals. But 36 goals in 41 games, if they played 41, but it's roughly 41. Take a quick peek here. The Capitals have played 41 games. Yeah, so 41 goals and 36 goals in the third period in 41 games. So that's pretty good. Looking at the NHL Edge, the Washington skating distance is more, and they have less shots on goal. Now, I think I've mentioned this before. I'm really starting to doubt this skating distance thing because it seems like the teams that are better in general seem to be skating more than skating distance more than the Preds. Washington has more goals, more shooting, top shot speed, no surprise. Most of the teams the Preds play have better stats there. The Preds are not scoring a lot of goals, so about the bottom in the league. Washington, where are they scoring from? They have above average scoring from in the front and then left middle. So middle of the ice on the left side facing the goaltender. They are above average, so that's interesting. And then, it's another thing I'm starting to really wonder about. The Preds are above league average in time in the offensive zone, and in the neutral zone, and in the defensive zone. And Washington is below average in offensive time zone and neutral zone time, and higher percentage of time in the defensive zone, and saw that with Winnipeg too. So really starting to wonder about that. Maybe again that's kind of a fallout from they're winning, and so they can play tighter. Yeah, definitely. That deserves a little bit more investigation into that. As far as momentum goes, Washington and their last 8 games have been alternating losses and wins. 2 of the losses were in shootouts. They are 6-4 in the last 10. So the alternating wins and losses and wins, however you want to call it. I guess losses and wins because they lost the other night. No, they won the other night. So I guess wins and losses, however you want to count it. Wins and losses. If that strategy or if that continues, that would be a loss to Montreal and a win at Nashville. I'm hoping the back-to-back situation plays into the favor because they're more likely to win the front end than the back end. And as far as, I guess, I really want to talk about the goaltenders. But I guess as far as momentum, Nashville had a tough loss to Winnipeg after a 2-game winning streak. I really expect them to bounce back, play well against Washington. Really, my brother's in town just to see the game. Wanted to see a game. We wound up, his family has had a lot of medical issues this year, and so we were supposed to go to see a couple other games earlier in the year, and so he's kind of squeezing this one in this weekend, and next weekend they have to go run off, and his wife has to have surgery again. So I'm surprised he's coming this weekend, frankly, because they are traveling next week for her, oh man, what is it, like the 10th surgery? So he's in town. Hopefully the Preds can put in a good game and give my brother a show. So that'd be great. Yeah, a little extra motivation there for you guys. Hey, let's try winning. And I got it's my wife's cousin. He's a big Capitals fan. Good for him. We talked about hockey over Christmas, which was awesome. That's always fun. It's like talking hockey. So let's talk about the goaltenders. Yay! I'm trying to squeeze this in all game long, all podcast long. So the goaltenders for Washington, they've got two. Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren. Logan Thompson is 17-2-2. Charlie Lindgren is 2-8-2. Pretty much playing the same number of games. There was one instance where Thompson played 2 games in a row, but in general. And for a while, they are alternating goaltenders. Now in the back-to-back situation, they would be doing that anyway. Thompson played last night in Vancouver, so expecting Lindgren in goal for Montreal and Thompson in goal for Nashville. Thompson, again, 17-2-2. He has lost in the second half of a back-to-back. Lindgren seems to be the one primarily getting the losses in their back-to-back situation. And Thompson is not. Thompson only has 2 losses and 2 overtime losses. So he's he's either more formidable or they play much better in front of him. But, again, I mean, they're one of the second best teams in the league, and both goaltenders are getting equal time. In the home and away situation, let's see, home and away, home and away, Thompson, Lindgren got the loss. Home and away, they both won. Home and away, Lindgren got the loss. Thompson was in the back half. Home and away, Lindgren got the loss. Home and away, they both won. The one exception to prove the rule would be the good thing to happen Saturday night. Thompson in goal and a loss. Yay. So there you go. That's what I've been trying to get to. All that. I just think that's so amazing that they the two goaltenders are swapping and the teams are playing so well. That's great. Great, good for them. Yeah, good for them. But that's not the team we're pulling for. Anyway, Nashville. Yeah, so I'm expecting Thompson in goal for Saturday night. There's no reason to think they're going to swap it up for Montreal. And let's see, where's Montreal? Montreal. 6th in the Atlantic, 19-18 on the road. They're 8-11-1 then in Nashville. So I don't see any reason why they would feel the need to swap goaltenders. But maybe I don't know. It doesn't look like they pay any attention to anything. They just alternate goaltenders. As far as Nashville goes, there's no game before or after, the day before or day after. So I'm expecting Saros in goal. Saros was in goal earlier this year and then once last year. Last year, remember, they did win both games. Askarov was in goal for the other one. And Anunin did not face Washington last year for Colorado. So no reason to expect anything than Saros in goal. Anunin did play against Calgary last Saturday. So they did alternate, but those were Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, yeah. So Friday, Saturday were back-to-back situations. They had a couple of back-to-back situations lately. So Noonan is getting a decent amount of playing time. But let's see, there was 2 games. Again, I think that was another back-to-back situation. So I expect to see Saros in goal. I would expect to see Saros in goal probably for every one of these this homestand. And Noonan might slip in there versus Chicago or Minnesota. He did play against Minnesota the other night in the 5-3 loss, but that was the back-to-back with Winnipeg. And Saros got the loss versus Winnipeg, so maybe a Noonan versus Chicago. But yeah, Saros definitely Saturday versus Washington. So, all right. So that is your analysis for the upcoming game with Washington. Again, people to look out for. Number 8, Ovechkin. Just kind of have to. I guess he's chasing after some record. So I hope he does not get it against Nashville. Get it at home against Montreal. Get it at home, celebrate, and then have a hangover coming into to Nashville. Yeah. So number 8, Ovechkin. Number 17, Strome. 21, Protas. 24, McMichael. Those are your forwards. And then defenseman, number 74, Carlson. So those are the 5 people to watch. Again, Protas, number 21, 3rd in shooting percentage, and Ovechkin 4th. So lots of nerves when they are on the ice, 21 and 8. Center, Protas, and left wing, Ovechkin. I'm guessing they probably play together. So anyway, so that's who to watch out for with Washington. Again, Washington Capitals are coming into Nashville this Saturday, January 11th. The game is at 7 p.m. It will be over by 9:30 or 10. Hopefully the weather allows us to go and allows us to have the game and watch Washington lose. That would be awesome. All right. Thanks for listening. I am Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.
What you're hearing is Hardie Fiber Cement Siding living up to its reputation as the siding that helps resist weather damage, no matter what Mother Nature throws its way. James Hardie knows how important a reputation is, especially when you're a home builder. That's why Hardie products withstand the elements better than wood-based siding, with styles to match their strength. Because when home builders work with us, we deliver our best so they can look their best. Protect your reputation with exterior products by James Hardie.